I actually had a Millennium Falcon from the Power of the Force 90s Star Wars line, but not the light and sound electronic one. I had a lot of stuff, but not the big expensive toys. So I had this, actually from the same line, but it's the carrying case. But it's still really big, so you can still kind of play around with this as your Millennium Falcon for your figures. I sure did, because that's all I had. It has all the detail in the cockpit, clear, but I mean, doesn't have like clear plastic like windshield or anything like that. Just solid gray, but here we have the clips here that it opens up, and this is the carrying case inside. You can put the figures in each pie slice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then they had these little bits here. You can pop the tabs inside to hold the figure down inside, like so. And on these pieces were these little blocks. You're supposed to put like the stickers they included with the names of some of the figures of the time. I don't think I really had assigned bits, so I never wanted to use the stickers. You never knew which figures you wanted to carry around with you. And I was mostly using this as a vehicle toy anyway. So you might put your hero characters inside the carrying case here, and then sit somebody in the cockpit spot so when you closed it, they could kind of still be sitting there ready to pilot it. It's the poor man's Millennium Falcon, let's face it. But I still had a lot of fun with it because it was big, a lot bigger than like the X-Wing and stuff, so sizable. And it did come with a figure. We got the Wedge Antilles figure. He's actually a Rebel pilot in all 3 of the original trilogy. So they did kind of get a unique face for him, but the helmet, not too accurate to the movie at all for him. It's a little bit closer to Luke's helmet design. They just kind of copied that a little bit. But I guess later there was a version where they kind of updated it so it did look more like the movie. So, you know, my usual luck, I never got the cooler version. Did come with his Han Solo style blaster, just as a little accessory for him. Maybe coming with this just because, you know, a character that's just in a Rebel pilot suit didn't think it'd sell on its own. And then he did fly with the Millennium Falcon on the mission against the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi. He was in his own X-Wing, but probably the closest association with the Millennium Falcon I can think of. I was always happy to have like an extra hero kind of dude like this, just kind of bolster my Rebel army as well. But apparently there was an alternate version of this carrying case that came with the Imperial Scanning Crew figure, like from A New Hope, where the crew kind of went on board checking out the Millennium Falcon once it got captured onto the Death Star. So here's just like a unique Imperial dude costumed figure I can kind of add to my A New Hope collection. Just kind of the jumpsuit and the little officer cap. Classic Stormtrooper style blaster with him. I think it was a 2-man crew, so you could always get an extra one if you wanted to have the 2 guys. He even came with his little scanning kit box. The old classic Star Wars-y box design there. Hollow on the inside. But he even had like his little accessory, so even a little bit bonus more than Wedge. You get like a unique outfit character, and then he has like his little accessory and still has a blaster. I would have liked to have this just as an extra evil Empire troop to gun down. But that's why I like to review these kind of old series and stuff, see stuff that I missed out on as a kid. I never saw the carrying case with this Empire dude, but I wouldn't have wanted a second carrying case anyway. I would have been like, oh man, if only I could just get the figure. So you could just get the figure up in there. Really only room for the one. That's why this wasn't the greatest for carrying case, really. There's 2 figures in that spot. But it's going to make it a little harder to close if you go overstuffing it with a ton of Star Wars guys. Especially the ones up at the top are probably going to be a little difficult to hold, but they do have the holders to kind of pin them in there a little bit. So it's really only intended to hold a few, but then this cockpit spot did have a little space. Maybe up in the front little bit, maybe you could sneak an extra figure. So it can hold quite a few, but I mean they're going to rattle around in there a little bit without the ones using the kind of buckle your safety belts apparatuses. So it did double as a carrying case. I mean, usually I just have a backpack or something. I could take my toys to someone's house or a grandparent's house or something like that. Didn't need to use the carrying case as that. But it was good as the poor man's Millennium Falcon for the line. A lot cheaper than, you know, the $70, you know, light and sound Electronic Millennium Falcon that I definitely always wanted, but it was just so expensive. I was lucky to have the vehicles I had, like the X-Wing and TIE Fighter and stuff like that. So I like to show a lot of 90s stuff. You can see the other Star Wars stuff from the 90s I like to show here. And I show plenty of other action figure things right here. Anything retro inspired. Maybe not always made in the 90s, but that is what I try to prefer. Stuff made in the time of the stuff here. These are like re-release of the special edition of Star Wars. Not a 90s movie, but you know, its own little 90s phenomenon, Star Wars. Coming back in VHS form.